Well, quick one today on mortgage deferrals through the COVID-19 pandemic. Back in March, when the pandemic hit, maybe for the first time in our lifetime anyway, banks and financial institutions came together as one organization to try and provide relief for Canadians that were suffering through loss of income, loss of employment, sickness, illness, any number of issues that survived that were around the pandemic, because it became very clear that as people were locked down and they weren't being able to work, they weren't going to be able to make their mortgage payments. So banks and financial institutions instituted the deferment program for 3 months or 6 months, generally for most lenders. But now we're getting to the stage where a lot of those deferment periods are coming up, and people are wondering what happens at the end of my deferral. What's the next steps? Well, if you were someone that did make a deferral, my first initial reaction would be talk to your lender and call your lender and find out exactly what's happening. I got a friend that deferred their mortgage for 6 months, and then they wanted to do a refinance of their mortgage to pay off some other debts and stuff like that. Well, what happened was they ended up having to show the lender that they were refinancing with that they are in fact back making payments again. So we actually pushed the closing date back by a month so that they could make a mortgage payment after their deferment was up, to show the lender that they're able to make the payments again. Once the lender knew that they were making payments again, we were then able to refinance. But the money that was skipped over those 6 months of deferments, both principal and interest, was worked into the refinance, and it was all covered off in the refinance. So that's what happens if you're doing something along those lines. But if you're not planning on refinancing or doing anything like that with your mortgage post deferral, keep in mind, one of the questions that we got from people a lot was, well, what happens to my payments? Do I just get to skip those payments? And the answer is no. You owe that money as if, if you think of it, if you were a lender and you lent money out to somebody and then they had to skip 6 payments for hardship purposes, you wouldn't just go, you know what, don't worry about those payments, forget it, keep it. No, you are responsible to pay back both the principal and interest for those payments. But how that's calculated could be specific to your lender, because through the term of deferral, all of the interest was still accruing as if you were making payments normally. So your payment might change when you come out of deferral, because that interest will be added on along with the principal. So maybe there could be a slight change there. So one of the things you can do, though, is take advantage of prepayment privileges. In your mortgage, you will have maximum amounts that you can prepay on your mortgage without accruing any kind of penalty. And I suggest you talk to your lender or pull out your mortgage documents to find out what that is. Sometimes it's a dollar figure, like you can increase your payments up to X dollars a month, or a percentage each month, or a percentage each year. But if you take advantage of the prepayments, then you can likely pay back those deferment costs much faster than if you were just making your regular payments. So long and the short of it was, as deferments come available or come due, and everybody gets back to paying their mortgage in normal ways, shapes, and forms, keep in mind, if you are going to do any refinancing, that money will be included as part of your refinance. It'll have to be accounted for. Get the exact dollar figure from your lender, because you don't want to come up short when the refinance is done. And you want to make sure that you're back in good standing with your lender right away. One of the great things about the deferral is that none of it was recorded to credit agencies or reported to credit agencies. So if you did have to skip payments through COVID, it didn't affect your credit rating at all. So if you've got questions on deferment or mortgages in general, don't forget, call, text, email anytime. You can find my contact information at joelscott.ca. And don't forget, check out my YouTube channel if you missed an episode. We've got all the episodes posted up at Joel J.M. Scott. You'll find me on YouTube. Thanks for watching the Mortgage and Money Morning Show. We'll see you next time.